brother!
And welcome everyone to our full spoiler review of Pixar's newest original movie, Elio.
Goodness gracious. I gotta say, you guys, I feel like this film is not doing as well at the box office as people may have hoped.
I feel like I didn't see tons of marketing for it.
Yes, and there was a weird switcheroo with Elio as a film in general, in the fact that it was originally slated to come out in 2024, and there is even a trailer for what that film is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it has a completely different feel from top to bottom than what we ultimately got in the finished product.
Yeah, you can like see where some of the characters like were being used in different ways, how some of the jokes carried forward.
As you say on Earth, okay, bye, I love you.
Some got some characters in completely different places. Even like Elio's core motivation seems different.
Yeah, fundamentally different,
yeah,
really.
fundamentally different.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot to unpack here inside of this movie that I otherwise found to be completely captivating, fun, hilarious, sad. Like, I mean, it gives you everything that you want from a Pixar movie. So I don't know why it's not doing better at the box office.
I don't know why either. I would say like it is shocking. Please let our review be the reason you go and see the movie, because like it is worth seeing.
It is absolutely worth seeing.
Absolutely worth seeing. Yes. It is very good. I would go. Here's my present theory on why maybe it's doing less good at the box office, besides just marketing, is that because movies come out so fast on Disney Plus, or like back under streaming now.
Yes.
That if it's like kids movies, that maybe they're having a harder time drawing audiences out, because if you're the parents and you have to bring your whole family out, it can be very expensive to go to the movie theater. Whereas you can just wait like 40 more days and then get it on your service anyway.
And this really is a big change, though, from what you and I would have grown up with when we were kids. Because even though there was, I mean, for one, I would say there was a longer delay between when it exited theaters and when it was available to purchase on VHS or DVD or Blu-ray or whatever the technology of the day, would have been.
Not only was there a longer delay, but then it cost like $20-ish to then purchase that movie anyway.
That was exactly my thought. Yeah. So it's like then you've got the additional layer of like the parent needs to go to the store to buy a new copy of a new film. Whereas now I think with Disney Plus it's easy enough to literally just weather the storm and wait. And then the other really big one was something like Elio, where you've got like an original motion picture, which is going to be different from the likes of like the sequel series that we've been seeing over the past several years. Is like, if you've got something like Toy Story 5, for example, it's like there could be more of a burning thirst to know what happens next to Woody and the gang.
Yeah.
But something like Elio, which is a brand new story, you might just be just as fine waiting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I guarantee you when Toy Story 5 comes out, like, you're going to hear a bunch of people being like, did we even need this? And then it's going to do gangbusters.
It's going to do so well that, like, one way or another, I mean, we talked about it recently in the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake video, where it's like, did anybody really want like a live action version of The Lion King where there aren't live action elements? They're just like hyper photorealistic looking animals. But then you look at it and it does nearly 1.7 billion at the box office, and you simply can't argue with the fact that people went to see it.
People like The Lion King.
People like The Lion King. Yeah. So there is something. It has a gravity of its own, which is kind of an ironic setup
bit of an Elio
here.
joke there. Yes.
Gravity on.
Coming into Elio. But then the other thing that I feel like you and I have talked a lot about is like the Encanto effect, which is the film Encanto came out by Disney Animation back in 2021. It was in November, and it was like a good 18 months into the pandemic, and movie theaters in particular, were one of those congregation zones that people were understandably still a little hazy about.
Yeah.
And so while Encanto didn't necessarily do phenomenally at the box office, in my personal opinion, it's one of Disney's best ever works.
Yeah.
And it had a huge blow up on Disney Plus once it made it there. So the real question that I think you can grapple with, especially just given exactly where we are at today as of filming, is whether or not the box office number is the most appropriate fixture for us to look at for something like these animated films.
Right, like will be, because even like there's been a bunch of other movies that just came straight off the streaming from Pixar that seemed like they timed it really well. Like Soul and Luca, I think both. Like Soul especially, it came out, everyone went home for Christmas, everyone watched Soul, and everyone
Yes.
came back like, whoa, did you see Soul?
Yes.
It was so good. Yeah, so like it's so weird with streaming and box office and all that stuff these days. But all that to say, definitely go see Elio because it is so good.
It is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I feel like it's Pixar hitting Pixar's stride. I mean, truly, like I don't know if I mentioned it before. It's got lovable characters. It's got an adorable storyline. It's got beautiful animation.
Such good animation.
There's so much happening inside of this movie, and I definitely think that it earns it deserves the recognition that it is earned. Is I think what
I would say that.
What I would like to say about it. So with that being said, let's dive on into our proper review of Elio.
Yes, there we go. Hey, brother! All right, so the movie kicks off, and the first thing you see, big giant image of Earth.
Yes.
Very reminiscent of the opening shot of The Good Dinosaur, I thought.
Good Dinosaur, or potentially even WALL-E.
Yeah, or WALL-E.
Where you're going to get like a more zoomed out view of Earth, which I think we can come back to just in a few minutes because I'm pretty sure you and I had the same observation on. But yes, you start with this idea of Earth.
Boom, Earth, space. But then you zoom out and you find out it's just a picture of Earth on a banner, and you zoom down and you got like Elio, or you have his aunt talking to him, trying to order some food, and you find out that he's hiding under the table and doesn't want any of the food because it reminds him of his parents, and his parents are dead, and apparently his uncle is dead too, but we don't know why or how any of them passed away.
No, does not come up at all at any point, just missing parents. Which maybe that's like one of those things where if you deliver where they've gone, it requires that to be part of the themes of the film.
Maybe.
And so it's better to just be like, they're not there.
They're just not there. They're not there.
End of story.
They're gone.
And you're seeing right away a very interesting dynamic, I think, between Elio, who is struggling with the loss of his parents, and then you've got his aunt, whose name is
Olga.
Olga.
Yeah.
Who is also struggling with the fact that, I mean, she is very well intended. Like, I think you've got like a more put together version of the older sister from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, it's definitely that, but it's like it is the I think it's the case that Olga married his biological uncle. Like she wasn't his, like she was the one married in.
Oh wow.
That's what I thought.
Okay, I had not made that specific observation. Was that covered?
I think so, because they had the same last name. Right? I guess if she was married, she would have. I guess no, because if she was married, she probably would have taken her husband's name.
Sure.
Right, and then her last name wouldn't match Elio's name anymore.
But do we know she was married?
I think we do. I thought so.
Unless it's just a biological sister altogether.
Unless it's just a biological. I thought for sure that she was. Man, okay, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But, okay, because I thought he says, like, you're not my family, is what he says at one point. Which would be a weird thing to say to someone who is a blood relative.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I understand that sentiment. I mean, but also kids can be cruel with their words.
They can.
At times.
That's true.
But anyway.
I guess that was how I was interpreting it. It is possible that I have missed something. You watch it. You figure it out.
There we go. Yes. Yeah. But anyway, I think the more important aspect going on here is that Elio's obviously grappling with this very traumatic thing that has happened in his life, and he's sort of lost a huge sense of who he is. Then at the same time, Aunt Olga is in the same situation where, like, even though she's super well intended and she is like there for Elio, like she is looking out for him. She is like, but it definitely seems like she was somebody who's like star was rising in the sky, like no pun intended. Like people keep walking up to her and they're like, hey, have you like talked to so-and-so about the astronaut program? Like it definitely seems like she was somebody who was on track to be very highly elevated within, her formal position.
Right, yes. She's like working her way up through the whatever space military base thing they got going on there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think I think what's the first emotional gut punch that you get too is that Elio is clearly having a hard time. He quickly disappears, as sometimes small kids can do, and it seems like he's sort of lost. Like he doesn't have like a great sense of anything. It kind of reminds me of like Riley from Inside Out when she basically has only got
Mm-hmm.
fear, disgust, and anger.
Yeah.
Up there at the console, and her end result is booking a ticket to like get out of town.
Yeah, and just sort of like shuts down.
Right.
Yeah.
So Elio is perfectly okay with walking away. And then it seems like what ends up happening is he walks into this room that has like a projection of space.
Yeah,
And
like some like soon to be open planetarium exhibit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's lying on the ground, he's taking in everything, and he's just sort of seeing like the potential for like life out there somewhere.
Yeah, I guess I don't know is if it basically it gives a short presentation about the Voyager that was sent up by NASA that has like a golden record on it and is like sending messages into space at like all the time, just hoping to be intercepted by some form of other intelligent life.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And he kind of internalizes that and thinks like, oh my gosh, there's other people out there. And like the way it's phrased is like the ultimate question humanity has is, are we alone? And like, so that is then transposed onto the idea of loneliness. So, of course, that phrase means alone in the galaxy, like as the only intelligent species,
right.
Whereas loneliness is the literal sense of loneliness, and they combine those two ideas into this movie.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Because then what you see is also kind of interesting. Like, a lot of times people can find themselves inside of their passions, and that can be like a very beneficial thing.
Yeah.
So where Elio seemed like he had basically become completely like detached from everything at the loss of his parents, it seems like he really latches onto this idea of communicating with different life out there somewhere.
Right.
But what's kind of fascinating about the way that this is depicted inside of Elio is that he is still remaining extremely solitary in these efforts.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where it's like it's almost like you can get some measure of the idea that he could be like a little bit of like a social outcast because he's wearing this like, pasta strainer on his head with all the, light bulb fixtures coming out of it.
He's got like a self-made cape that's got a bunch of like bottle openers and forks and spoons attached to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can see all these like little examples that might lead you to the conclusion that like this is somebody who might be having a hard time making friends. However, then there's an evening where he's out on the beach and he's basically hosting his like ham radio club, which includes him. And up comes a boy named Bryce. Who has heard about the club.
Yeah, like he posted about it online, and but it turns out that Elio's whole situation is he doesn't want a ham radio club. He just wants someone else to bring him a second ham radio
to strengthen his own signal.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's kind of interesting because like it's clearly what Elio is like yearning for is to escape this loneliness and to sort of like discover his sense of identity.
Right.
And in this way, it's almost like part of his identity is this very childlike sense of wonder, this fascination with the stars and what lies out there. So it's like, in some ways, it's like he's found a piece of identity, and then here's somebody who shows up who wants to solve the loneliness problem and share this interest with him.
He's like Bryce shows up and could not be a better potential friend to Elio. Right?
Yeah, and Elio sort of rejects it. You know, and
he's like, whatever. Well, you're also into ham radios. Oh, who cares?
Exactly. Yeah. So he's sort of like, okay, thank you for your hardware. You may now leave.
It's over. We're done here. We're done here.
Shingles is really dangerous. I thought it was amnesia.
Oh, it's affecting everybody. Okay, see ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is good. So I thought this is what I thought. Elio's name, I thought, was a really clever way to like show what's happening, I think, with Elio's character. So his name is Elio Solis. And if you don't know, Elio means sun, and Solis means sun. So his name is literally like sun, or like sunny sun, or whatever.
Okay.
But here's what I think is actually happening here, is that it's like sun, or like sunny, like happy, upbeat, positive, which Elio is.
Right.
He's like despite all the loneliness, it seems like his coping mechanism is to be like positive and funny about everything.
Yes, he has a great charm about him.
He does. He has a very good charm. But then there's the other meaning of sun, where it's like he perceives himself as the center of his own universe. Where like he is unable to like recognize that Bryce actually wants to be his friend because he can't see past himself. He's unable to recognize that his aunt is doing her very best to try and connect with him and does love him, but because it's not like in a very narrow, specific tunnel vision way that he wants to be loved, that he can't see it.
That is so well said.
Yeah.
So well said. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Because that was like the thing as I was watching it. I'm like, this is not a situation where the people in his life are necessarily like fully failing him. Like people are trying to connect with him over his interests.
Yeah.
Which for like a lot of people, that's best case scenario. Like that's what we're looking for out there in the world. And so the fact that he was kind of running from that it's an odd characteristic.
It is
for Elio, but probably representative of also the trauma that he's then gone through.
It's definitely it's all definitely from the trauma.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Whatever that is. But then just lucky Elio. Well, I guess what happens is that Bryce brought another friend, Caleb, along with him to Ham Radio Club. As you do. And he gets into a tussle with Elio, and then his aunt has to come collect him and bring him to work, and she's in the middle of a top secret meeting, which she does not take seriously at all, despite like very good evidence to take it seriously, I thought.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, it's like I felt like they were trying to do like a kind of caricature of this like wacky satellite engineer type of operator who he vaguely reminded me of the guy from like Jurassic Park with like the shaving cream or the Cool Whip can or whatever.
I mean, not Newman.
Not Newman. Yeah. But like he seems a little quirky.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's like you have someone who is like doing real work here, who found a real thing.
Right. It's like you all work at this, I don't know where they're supposed to be working at, this like military base. Like
right.
He has the same clearance you have, and like you do the same job, and he's saying it's serious, and like he's not like he doesn't get a chance to play it back or something.
Right.
Like he plays it back and it's clearly like well, that's different,
Right, yes.
Like, no one shows any... And then when she hears the exact same thing, like, 10 minutes later in the movie, she's like, oh my gosh, this is weird. It was like... It felt weird to me that they didn't take Melmac seriously. That was his name. Who, fun fact, was played by Beard from Ted Lasso.
No way!
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. That's perfect.
Yeah.
But so what I think the real purpose of that scene is, though, is that you needed a way to give Elio this unique and weird opportunity to basically be able to communicate with all of space at once using the world's most powerful technology because, what's his name? Melmac.
Yeah.
Has basically punched in everything, and the only thing left to do is basically hit enter. And I sort of do love the scene where Elio has like broken into the meeting and he's like hiding inside of the trash can and the person throws the banana peel in with him.
Did you think this was an intentional like nod, or maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but when he's in the trash can and he like stands up and turns the trash can around and sits down again, I was like, that's the trash can thing from Star Wars.
Like the gonk droid?
Yes, that's like in all the movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could totally see it.
I was like, because it's a sci-fi movie.
Right,
Like they're doing the Star Wars thing. They put the Gronk droid in or whatever it is.
Yes, the gonk droid. And I think absolutely, because I'm pretty sure the gonk droid just simply is a trash can. Like, I think that like the actual prop, like going back in the day, like that's what they made it out of. So I think so.
Okay. I know, I mean, that would be my guess. I think the voice of one of the aliens you meet later is like, there's a couple of the aliens up there that are voiced by like ex-Star Trek cast members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I saw that too. I was like, that's pretty clever.
That's pretty clever.
Good. Yeah, so I think they were doing sci-fi nods, so I do think that was one.
Yes. So, so basically Elio was able to go in, he delivers this rather adorable voicemail to the universe.
If any aliens are listening, please come and get me. Okay, bye, love you.
Which then sort of like it puts Elio on the radar of the members of the Communiverse.
The Communiverse.
This legion of ambassadors that have like sort of distilled out all of the knowledge and information of everywhere into this like one orb.
Yeah.
And they like essentially work together to share information and like.
Bring other intelligent species together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. But it seems like a very peaceful, driven thing.
I love it when the aliens you meet in movies are just like friendly.
Yes.
Like it's like you always think like, oh my god, aliens are going to abduct you and they're going to be like, they're bad. They're here to kill everyone.
Right.
But it's like, this is just like, nah, we're just here to like hang out and like, hey, we want to be really respectful of you. And
you want some
like,
glorp?
Right, exactly. Here's some complimentary glorp. And it's like, it almost makes more sense that they'd be friendly sometimes because it's like, yeah, they're intelligent species. Like, we're intelligent species. If we met other people, we wouldn't be going to invade other planets. We'd be like, hey, let's be friends.
Exactly.
So of course that's how they'd be.
And I think that's like such a true lesson too, is that like it's like intelligent life on that level will have evolved beyond petty skirmishes,
Right.
and like at least societies, whether or not individuals, societies would be able to recognize the benefit of the cross-pollination of technologies and information and knowledge,
Right.
which is essentially what these people are capable of doing. And then obviously the big hook for the whole movie is that now Elio is supposed to be the leader of Earth.
Earth.
Welcome, leader of Earth.
Yeah, so he mispronounces Earth and says Earth, and they kind of keep that joke going for a good portion of the movie, but then just sort of stop doing it at some point.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of silly. I was like, okay, we got this running gag, and then at some point in time they just start calling it Earth, like they just like figured out that like maybe he like made a mistake, and it was just sort of like, yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, but in the meantime, they continue to like keep up all of their perceived customs of Earth. Like when he's making the recording, he's running out of time, so it's like, okay, I love you, bye, and then he like signs off. So
Yes.
anytime they're saying any of the aliens say goodbye to Elio, they're like, okay, I love you, bye.
As you say on Earth, okay, bye, I love you.
Yes, which is so cute. But I think that's something from the original.
Like version of Elio.
Yes, like,
Yes.
but I think what he's actually doing in that moment is he's trying to call his aunt, who in the original trailer for Elio was actually his mother, and he's calling to be like, hey, something weird is happening, and the mom is dealing with the same weird thing, and she's like, I'm a little busy right now, and he's like, oh, okay, love you, bye.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that's it.
Can you hear me?
Honey, now is a really bad time.
Okay. Bye. I love you.
But obviously in this go-round, in that version of the story, he was going to be hesitant to be brought into space. In this
Right.
one, he is so
He
excited.
is excited. He is ready to go. He has been waiting for it. He's been laying out on the beach every night with big come abduct me words on it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Come abduct me words.
Come abduct me words. Basically, aliens find me right here. Here's my crystals and my like Christmas lights and
Yes,
stuff.
yes. Very cute.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Cute. But ultimately, he gets what he wants, and he gets abducted into the Communiverse, where he starts quickly, like, he realizes that, they had sent a message that said, send us your leader, please.
Yes.
The please was so funny.
It was.
Because, like, send us your leader sounds like a threat, but then you add the please, and it's like, oh.
Oh, okay. Well, these
Yeah,
guys are kind
so
of friendly,
they're
aren't
kinda
they?
friendly, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that's what they think Elio is, and they've never seen any Earthlings before, so they assume that he, a child, is what a full-grown human looks like.
Right, which, I mean, based on everything else that we saw and all the amorphous blobs of existence, I mean, it's like, sure, why not?
Yeah, sure.
That could totally be a thing.
That could be a
It's
thing.
a kind of shorter species.
Yeah, and so, of course, it's everything Elio ever dreamed of. Everyone's super friendly, and he gets to go live with the aliens and whatever. But it turns out there's another person there, or another alien species up, candidacy
Yeah.
for becoming a member of the Communiverse, and that is Grygon.
Which
Yeah.
was giving me very, like, Emperor Zurg vibes.
Oh my gosh, I literally wrote down Grygon is very Zurg.
Yes, which is also very interesting because like within the Pixar verse, it's odd because the movie Lightyear is a movie that exists inside the Pixar universe.
Yeah.
So everything that happens in Lightyear are all just actors.
Yeah.
Like that's not actually happening out in space anywhere.
Right.
So it's like as much as like for Pixar theorization reasons, you want to like compare it to things like Lightyear. It's like you can't because they're not the same.
Right.
But then there was a piece of me that kept thinking like, well, certainly there's a way because Zurg, who we meet inside of Lightyear, is also not the true Zurg. It's like Buzz, who has traveled. No, Buzz's dad.
Buzz's, yeah. Within Toy Story canon, Zurg is Buzz's father, but in the movie Lightyear, the Zurg you meet is just a alternate timeline version of Buzz Lightyear.
Yes, who has taken
Yes.
over Zurg's ship.
So we haven't met the real Zurg at all.
Yes, but I imagine him to look like Lord Grygon.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah.
But so that's to say, if we ever get Lightyear 2, which I doubt, I think you would meet the real Zurg.
There you go. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that'd be the obvious feeling there. But his big thing is that he has come to the Communiverse in hopes of basically using all their technology to make even better weapons than the weapons that he already has.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of interesting because it's like you would almost think that like if he is coming to them kind of hat in hand, being like, "Hey, I want your technology," that he couldn't also be an active threat to the Communiverse, but He is.
He is, yeah.
And all of the Communiversians don't want anything to do with Lord Gragon and his request. And so basically he's like, well, that's it. Then I'm going to point all my cannons at you. And they're like, oh no, we're going to have to retreat. Sorry, Elio. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to induct you because
we're disbanding.
Imminent danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe next time.
Yeah. But then Elio volunteers. He says, I'm going to go up and see. I want to go see Gragon. I'll talk to him. I'll negotiate this wartime situation. And they're all like, you will? How brave. Great.
Yes.
They just are totally on board with it.
Right.
And that's like his test. If he can negotiate with Gragon, then he'll get to become an ambassador of the Communiverse.
Right.
And so he goes and like, there's this big, I don't know, the computer, the all-knowing supercomputer that can tell you the meaning of life and all that.
that nobody wants to ask about. Yeah. It's like, hey, do you want to know about the meaning of life now?
Yeah. He's like, who would win, a gorilla with a baseball bat or 10 chimpanzees?
The gorilla.
Y'all, we need to take a quick pause right there to tell you about today's sponsor, HelloFresh. You know, when I was a kid, summer was nothing but free time. And as an adult, I sometimes trick myself into believing that that's still true. But the reality is that my time is spoken for from sun up till sundown every day. My calendar is packed with activities and outings. So if you're anything like me, then not to worry, because HelloFresh has your back. They have made it easy to enjoy delicious, healthy, and homemade quality meals with their new ready-made meals. These heat and go HelloFresh meals are chef-crafted, flavorful dishes ready in just 3 minutes so that you can dig in and go do summer right. And here's the real clincher. I have a 3-year-old daughter who can be, let's call it particular when it comes to meals, but she loves these meals from HelloFresh. But with options like their Southwest-inspired chicken bowl and the stir-fried udon with pulled pork and veggies, it's easy to see why it's a hit. So make your summer enjoyable and delicious by signing up for HelloFresh at HelloFresh.com/SuperCarlin10FM and get 10 free meals with free item for life. That's HelloFresh.com/SuperCarlin10FM for 10 free meals and a free item in every box. One more time, HelloFresh.com/SuperCarlin10FM. One per box with an active subscription. Free meals are applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. Links to everything in the description down below.
The gorilla.
The gorilla.
Yeah.
Real winners do not fight.
Yeah. Real winners do not fight. Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so then there's a couple of big things that I think happen here as well. One of them is that the Communiverse has a special way of when ambassadors are going off on dangerous missions to ensure that their planet is not in jeopardy with their absence. So they have cloning clay.
Yay!
So they can create an exact clone of Elio, who they can then send back to Earth to just continue to be Elio in his absence in case something bad happens to Elio, which is going to have its kind of like own major things as it comes. But then also
it does. The clone immediately calls him out too. He's like, "Oh, you want me to try something new? You're gonna keep going with the low self-esteem and desperation thing."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What?"
Right. It's so funny how a clone of yourself would be able to see all of your characteristics in a much more like laid out and barren way than we ourselves are able to see our characteristics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But then the clone goes down and starts connecting with the aunt in a way that Elio never could, just by sort of doing whatever she says.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And but in a good way, I think that ends up coming full circle, because it seems like Olga is immediately sort of like, you're not him.
Yeah, something's wrong here.
Yeah,
you're not acting like yourself there,
right.
young man.
Which I think has a good payoff later on in
Yes.
the series. But anyway, so then he gets a whole bunch of negotiating tactics from the supercomputer. He goes over and he's speaking with Lord Gragon. They're having their whole like back and forth, where Lord Gragon is sort of like, I like to shoot things while having discussion.
And negotiate, yeah. So he's got his like clay pigeon machine or
Yes,
whatever
yes.
out there.
I cannot remember what they are called, but I feel like in elementary school there was maybe like whatchamacallits or something, but it was like this like insect building kit where you could like build insects out of like little like sections of insect.
Oh, I think I do know what you. Yeah.
Add like weebly wobbly legs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember those?
I do remember what you're calling, like not like weeble wobbles. I think like whatchamacallits might be it. Whatchamacallits, they're like ants or something. They're in Toy Story Land.
Okay. Well, anyway, long story long, that is what I felt like they were shooting, was like fuzzy versions of these or something.
Right.
That was what I kept thinking of every time they did it. And it's kind of funny because like he shoots like a perfect shot, and then it's Elio's turn, and he accidentally hits it. And Lord Gragon's like,
bounces.
trick shots, I like it.
Yeah, trick shot, nice. Like, well.
Yeah. Then like, so everything's going well. Like Elio's little tactics of trying to like understand and speak like eye to eye with Lord Grigon are comically working.
Yes.
But then he complains like about his son, Lord Grigon does, and Elio makes the mistake of trying to be like, oh, sons, am I right? Like the worst. And, you know, it's like one bad father to one bad father, you know?
Yeah, and
like,
he's like, you calling me a bad father?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really cleverly done because you're supposed to, like, on your first pass, you're supposed to think that Lord Grigon is just being, like, insulted. But, like, what's actually happening is that, like, it's hitting him really where it hurts because, like, he is trying really hard to be... It's obviously very similar to what's happening with Olga and Elio on Earth. It's like,
Yes.
he's trying to be a good father to his son Glorden, who we're going to meet and who is the best.
Yes.
And it's like, it's just not working because the way he's trying to connect with him is by like forcing all of his own interests on Glorden rather than getting to know Glorden's interests.
Himself.
Himself.
So anyway, this ends up sending Lord Grigon off, and Elio is sent into like a little prison cell where there's like a skeleton sitting there who Elio just immediately adorably goes and puts like his head on its shoulder. I was like, oh, he's gonna be so freaked out by the skeleton, and he's just like,
He's like, a friend. Hi. And then it falls apart.
and then it falls apart.
Yeah. Fortunately, he's able to escape because he has like an anti-gravity belt on or whatever and goes and he meets Glorden.
He meets Glorden!
Yay!
Yeah, and it also gives us this reveal that this particular species of super militaristic aliens is also just kind of like worms?
Kind of just like, you know, it was like Space Heimlich, you know?
It was like Space Heimlich.
Yeah.
Yeah, from A Bug's Life.
From A Bug's Life,
Right,
yes,
right.
very much.
Yeah, maybe that will go into the Pixar theory. Maybe we have to move A Bug's Life to like way further on down the line.
Way down
and
there.
Heimlich is actually like a weird space caterpillar.
He's a weird space caterpillar
That's,
for sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm a beautiful butterfly.
Yeah, I gotta go into my catapus.
But yeah, so then you also learn that basically the carapace is this huge piece of armor that this particular species of aliens, like it is like a huge part of their culture that like when you come of age, you adorn it and like you show and tell nobody.
It's like Mandalorians, like you never take your helmet off.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
people can't know because, and I think it opens them up to weakness is ultimately
Yeah.
what they're concerned about is they don't want to be weak and they have this armor to make them strong. So
Right.
you can imagine the origin story of that particular species kind of being tragic in its
Yeah.
own way, going back way, way, way far in their history. But anyway, Glorden and Elio just like immediately fast friends. So they come up with the clever ruse for Glorden to become his bargaining chip.
Yeah.
Glorden?
Hi, Dad. I'm a bargaining chip. No, say the other thing.
And Glorden is sort of like, cool, I've never been a bargaining chip before.
I know, I really thought it was gonna like, I thought he was gonna like get the idea and then like not tell him and that was what was gonna trip him up later, but he just tells him like, can I just sort of like use you?
Yeah, and Glorden like,
It's like,
yup.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
So they go back to the Communiverse. They have a wonderful day together, which is hilarious. Just like a montage of them doing all sorts of different antics. And
Everyone's
Glorden
throwing up the
puking.
glorp. Yeah. Blah.
Good times, good times. But like, it's a great montage because I think you can very quickly see just how close they become and how quickly they become close.
Right, and like basically neither of them's really ever had a friend, and now like someone else like understands them immediately, and they're just like, it just goes very quickly. And the bargaining chip maneuver totally works, and it's like it's kind of weird. It was like, yes, I'll give you your son back, and then it takes them like 2 hours to come down and get him or something, and that's the time when they're having all their fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
also true. So, and then that sets up sort of an interesting situation because this is when Glorden reveals to Elio that he actually does not want to go inside of the carapace.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't want to go and be like this bloodlust killer, warmonger type individual, and he's like a much more softer personality.
Right.
And so they're like, okay, well, we can solve this too, because now Elio cares for Glorden, and he's like, well, I want to make sure that he's okay. So they go over to the clay cloning machine, and they're like, we'll just make clay Glorden.
Yeah.
No problem whatsoever.
I love that when the clay thing came out first, it's just like, it like don't look right.
It doesn't look right, yeah.
And then it like fixes itself.
Right. But yeah, so then other Glorden goes over and climbs inside of the carapace, which is a ceremony, I think, due to the fact that Glorden was abducted, meant to his father that he wasn't safe, which meant that he had to be put inside of the carapace early.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be doing it right away. It's this like big symbolic gesture type
Right.
situation. So then what's kind of cool though is that almost right away, Lord Grigon can recognize that Glorden, this fake Glorden, is not the true.
He's not the real Glorden. Yeah, he's like, wait a minute, you're not my son, which is like another like little tie-in to like, oh, like he does know his son.
He does know his son, absolutely. Yeah. Like he knows him well enough to know, and it's like we're also being shown little glimpses into other Elio back home, who Aunt Olga is also realizing isn't him.
Yes.
And so these two things are pairing up, but Elio doesn't know that Olga is just like going along with the bit.
Right.
Essentially. He's just seeing like the wrong out of context bits of the situation. So I think in that way, Gragon and Olga are sort of like mirroring each other to where it's like these clones of who are supposed to be their children, even children doing exactly what they might want of them, is not who their children are.
Right.
And they love their children.
Right.
And I think that that's like a really, really big one that could be like a great takeaway for this, is that it's sort of like a way to have that conversation between kids and parents, where it's sort of like, we might not have the same interest, but like you don't need to have my interest. Like I don't love you for having my interest. I love you because you're you.
Right.
Like, and that is what I love.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what both of those characters are able to see through, which is kind of great. However, though, then Lord Gragon, feeling as though he was being tricked, is then rather upset.
No, not even feeling like it. He just was tricked.
He just yes. And so then he basically just imprisons everybody inside of the
Communiverse.
The Communiverse. Yes.
Yeah, and they send. Then they find out that Elio was lying to them as well, and they send him back to Earth. But because Glorden happened to be hiding in Elio's ship, and that ship had like two places it could go, which was Earth or nowhere, it goes to Earth.
It goes to Earth.
Yeah.
Yes. So then it kind of ends up being kind of fortunate, because Elio makes it back to the beach, where he sees his aunt setting up this whole situation, and he thinks he's going to walk into this terrible situation and witness like other Elio being the person he's never been capable of being, and his aunt right away is like, "You're him.
You're him."
Like I know my Elio when I see my Elio.
Exactly.
Which
with
is a
his
very
two eyes.
with his two eyes.
Yeah.
Oh god, that was weird.
That was weird.
Yeah, couple moments in this movie it decided to go for that Toy Story 1, like let's be a little creepy. The masks that the kids were wearing when they like go to like beat up Elio at the beginning, like it reminded me so much of the little kids from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
for sure.
They got like just like
yeah.
I don't love it. Anyway, so but then you also see that Olga has created her own symbol to space, like bring him back.
Right.
Then, because she is part of this like major space agency military situation, the fact that Glorden has now arrived at Earth is a decent setup, because now it means that Glorden and Elio are back together.
Together again.
Now
on
Earth. Yeah.
And they have a way to get back. Thanks to the spaceship.
Yeah. Then there's like a kind of like, it's an interesting scene, because I'm not totally sure that the payoff was exactly perfect. Like, I feel like what we're supposed to see is Olga being able to be what was supposed to be the potential astronaut while they're flying the ship away from Earth, and they're running into like the
debris field.
The debris field.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like, okay, we need to call back home. We need to be able to like get coordinates so that we can like make the proper maneuvers, so that we can like miss these things, because like I need that information on ground in order to triangulate up here to know where we are in space in order to move the right way.
Right.
And so you've kind of got this like, I don't know, it's not that lengthy, but a few minute long scene where they're like just navigating that field.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, I mean, did you feel like there was a great payoff in that?
I mean, I guess on the one hand, yeah, like Olga and Elio get to like work together, and Elio gets to reconnect with Bryce via the ham radio, and that's when they go back to Melmac, and he gets his little like, haha, I was right moment.
True.
And then you get like a nice little like, all of Earth is very helpful, because they kind of like keep moving. As the spaceship is moving, they're like traveling over different parts of Earth, and since they're using a ham radio, they kind of have to rely on that, or wherever they
have to
happen
have
to
a
be.
line of sight.
Although, I don't know if you heard this, one of the people who chimed in, his name was Julia from Italy.
Oh, no way!
Yes.
Oh my god, Santa Mozzarella!
Yeah, exactly. What?
Whoa, we know you!
Yeah.
Okay, that's very cool. I did not catch that.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's from Luca.
Yes.
So cool, right?
So anyway, they're barreling, they get through the debris field.
Into the debris field.
Which could be a setup potentially for like what is starting to happen to Earth that we will ultimately see in WALL-E.
Yes, that was some big Pixar theory vibes. Because when you, like the beginning of WALL-E, you're zooming in, and you go through this giant, debris field around Earth that is all the satellites and stuff that is just junked up up there. And it's like I feel like, Pixar theory-wise, what you were seeing was the start of the debris field.
Yes, because I think that I want to say that they leave in WALL-E like maybe like 100, 150 years from now. I can't remember right off the top of the head, but the idea would be that Elio is taking place more like modern times,
like now, like 2025.
Right now. Yeah. So it means that like things are maybe starting to accumulate to the point where if you were attempting to exit, you'd run through stuff.
Yeah.
But not so bad that you like can't see the Earth or that it's been like completely polluted yet.
Exactly.
But, so anyway, they hit light speed. They make it back to the Communiverse, where now Glorden, unfortunately, has been out of his natural environment for too long. And is starting to not be okay.
Very cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you have this really kind of special moment where, like, Lord Dragon basically, like, looks like he's going to be really upset and actually just, like, tears away his own armor and steps forward in that weird...
Yeah, they have, like, they can, like, shoot spider web or whatever from their mouths.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And is able to swaddle
his son.
Yes, and in just the cutest little way. Like, just taking care of his little dude. And basically, Elio comes over and he's sort of like, you should tell him, and he's like, I don't want to be who you want me to be. And, like, it's not who I am. And Lord Dragon's like, I know it's not. Like, like, I know this about you because I am your father. And it's like, we don't have to see eye to eye in order to...
I don't really have eyes. But,
well, that's true. But isn't that the phrase they say? Like, we don't have to...
Yeah, do they? Yeah. I mean, yeah. It means the same thing.
It means the same thing.
Yes.
You're right.
Like when they put the helmets on, they had eyes, and when they don't have the helmets on, they don't.
They just don't have
eyes. But they
eyes,
can just still see.
Right. That's just them, like, attempting to, like, cater to, like, the nearby surroundings.
Exactly.
Yeah. People like having eyes. It gives them a place to look, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
But then, because of all this, and because then Lord Dragon is willing to no longer continue his assault on the Communiverse, basically he's like, okay, like, I'll free everybody. I will happily go. I will keep to my word. I'm not here to cause any more damage or stress to anybody. This causes the Communiversians to basically be like, Elio, you did it! You provided us peace. Like, even though you lied to us, like, you clearly are a good person and the right candidate to be an ambassador amongst us. So, like, he is given that opportunity.
Yeah,
which kind of
extremely similar to Soul.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's very similar to Soul, and it also reminded me of like Hercules a lot.
Okay,
like, he like gets like his like immortality back. He's like God again.
Yeah,
and like chooses life with Meg instead.
Right.
So yeah, what in Soul?
Well, like the whole movie, like they're trying to get 22 is trying to earn her like Earth badge or whatever so that she can give it to Joe and then Joe can go back to Earth and 22 can not have an Earth badge anymore and she can stay in the Great Before the entire time.
You're right.
Finally, like, she gets it and she gives it to Joe and Joe's like, no, I have to give it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he finally gets the little badge he wants, but then he gives it back.
You're right. Yeah. Right. They're even kind of like similar, like little like, stickers.
Little sticker things that you put on. Yeah.
But yeah, so then Elio, of course, basically is like, I don't think I've given Earth a proper chance. And I want to be able to do that with his aunt, Olga, so he basically makes the choice to return home.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where they leave it. You find out they can still, he reconnects with Bryce on Earth, so he has a friend down there, and then they're able to use their ham radios to still talk to Glorden, of course.
Naturally, I mean, you got all the latest... Yeah. All the latest tea.
Tell me everything.
Exactly.
All the latest glorp, Ben.
All the latest glorp.
Spill the glorp.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. That's a good point. But yeah, I mean, I think that brings us to the end of the movie. What are your broad strokes thoughts?
Well, here you go. I think overall, I thought it was just really good. I thought it really hit its own theme of like loneliness and trying to like be empathetic towards others really well. But I thought overall, like, on like almost like a meta level, on like almost like a Pixar theory kind of level, it was describing the Pixar movies themselves as not individual, as like the Pixar movies are the Communiverse is kind of what I was feeling.
Oh, that's very
because
cool.
Like here, my iPad just died, so I had all my notes on it, but I'm going to pull them up right here because I think this movie in particular is a love letter to the rest of the works Pixar has made.
Okay.
And there are like payoffs and references to all of them, not like Easter eggs, not like what you're thinking, but like literal. Like we made a video one time about how Frozen 2 who like had a payoff from every Disney princess movie that had ever been made.
Sure.
Right, and I think this was doing kind of the same thing. Hold on, let me get it here. I was trying to write down as many as I could find out. So let's see. So we've already talked about a few. Like Grigon, extremely Zerg coded.
Yes.
Like just top to bottom, he feels extremely like he's the embodiment of Zerg. He's also voiced by Brad Garrett, who, not for nothing, has also been the voice of the Beetle, Dim, in A Bug's Life, of Bloat in Finding Nemo, of Chef Gusteau in Ratatouille, and now Grigon as well. So even the fact that he is a main character feels like, yes, I'm like a piece of connective tissue for the Pixar movies.
He's kind of becoming like a more modern John Ratzenberger.
A little bit, yeah. He's in a lot of them, and I mean he gives a really good performance in this one. Like we said, the opening shot very similar to the opening shot of The Good Dinosaur, where you see the asteroid miss. When the Voyager, during the opening credits, is like sort of traveling through space, it is like it shows a lot of the same spots as like where Wall-E is holding onto the Axiom and traveling out or traveling to the Axiom and touches the Saturn's rings and stuff like that. Like there's another shot of Saturn's rings. That was very much there. We said Glorden, very much Heimlich as well. He's built the same. He's got like the carapace thing that he either, I guess Heimlich wants to become a butterfly and Glorden doesn't want to become a carapace war machine.
Right.
But they look the same. I don't know. I felt like that was intentional. The campers at the camp that Olga sends Elio to all have these sashes for like all their merit badges, or they're not wilderness adventure badges, but it is like extremely, reminiscent of that.
Of Russell and Up.
Of Russell and Up. There is a shot where after Glorden and Elio have had their fun day in the Communiverse, they're both sitting on like the edge of a lake, and you get this crazy shot from behind the two of them.
Yes.
Which was exactly like Monsters U. There is a shot where they're also standing on top of a bridge that looks like this, that is extremely similar to Wade and Ember in Elemental. When you talked about this, there was a lot of Toy Story 1 payoffs. There's a point where clone Elio tries to like freak out the guards or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, by doing that. That to me was like very much like Woody revealing himself to Sid.
Right, okay.
Yep, that was right there. Let's see what else we got. Oh, there's a scene where Olga and clone Elio are eating dinner together. She's drinking wine and eating mac and cheese. And just like the attention to detail they put into the mac and cheese, and the fact that she's drinking a glass of wine was very Ratatouille to me.
Okay.
/ maybe even Turning Red, because there's a lot of really good food shots in Turning Red as well from the dad. Let's see. When Elio is about to get hit by the bullies and he gets sucked up into the spaceship, everything freezes in an extremely 0 point energy kind of way.
Yes.
Like from The Incredibles.
0 point energy.
0 point energy. There's a scene when Olga is driving clone Elio back. No, it's regular Elio back from camp. It's like an overhead shot of the road. And it's like just watching the car go through. That is like right out of Cars 3.
Oh, Cars 3, okay.
Yeah, where they're like driving over to like the Appalachian area. What else do we got here? Oh, there's I'm sure you've seen it in the trailers where, or maybe you haven't if you haven't seen the trailers, where they're going through the lava tunnels and he's like, Glorden, I'm not fireproof. And he's like, climb into my mouth. And it's like, ah! But like, what you don't see in the trailer is that he does it like 2 or 3 times. And you're like, no, it's okay, get in. Yeah. But like that effect was very, like, almost the exact as them being like, oh, to the great beyond? Whoa!
Yes.
Yeah. I got, because even the way they keep coming back to it, not to mention the entire movie itself feels like one of the original Pixar shorts, Lifted, just got turned into a fully, like, fleshed out idea.
Yeah.
You know, which is one of I think the earliest ones, maybe like the second one?
I think so,
I think so, after Jerry's Game. Let's see, then even this is more maybe a direct Easter egg, maybe not, but just in Elio's home, there is some of the, what are they called? Like the little Mexican paper decorations.
Chisel paper?
Yeah, tissue paper.
Chisel paper.
Chisel paper, there it is. There's some of that, and some like Frida Kahlo paintings as well, which I think they were maybe trying to do just because it's like, this is another like Hispanic family.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
In Pixar, and then I think, and then Julia giving him directions while he's in space. So I think there's a lot of like extremely, like, we are trying to pay homage to the other Pixar movies, and like in this movie and like show that like the Pixar movies are kind of their own Communiverse as well.
Yeah, I mean, in that way, it makes it like a very Pixar movie.
Yes.
And like when you can use like the name of the production company itself as the adjective to describe the kind of film that it is.
Yeah.
And for me at least, I'm like, okay, that means it's a really good movie. Like
I want to say even in Finding Nemo, there's one of those like little like floaty, like, I don't know what they're called. You might know what these are called. It's like, doesn't look like a fish. It's like one of the aliens looked like this, the one who could read your minds. It's like
yes, you're right. Like there's oh my gosh. I mean, it kind of looks like a nudie bronc, which is a type of like sea slug.
Yeah.
It's got like a very like skirted kind of vibe to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like, I think in Finding Nemo you can see one just sort of like skimming around in the reef time point there. But anyway, so I felt like I kept just being like, there's another one.
It feels like this is just going to be a video on its own at some point.
I think so.
Really, like marking all the homages from from Elio to all the other Pixar films.
Yeah, in ways that aren't just like Easter eggs, but are more like homage.
Yeah, I mean, and this is even curious too because it makes you wonder whether or not this isn't like the evolution of the Easter egg in some ways, because like back in the day, the idea behind the Easter egg was like you could essentially create these specific assets that were like ready-made digital models.
Right.
And sometimes if you needed to scatter a bunch of toys on the floor, you could scatter a Buzz Lightyear in there because you've already got the perfect Buzz Lightyear toy made.
Throw them in there. It's fun.
Right,
it's easy.
People like it because it's sort of like, hey, it's Buzz, you know, like, but like that's almost like the peek behind the curtain reason behind sometimes assets like that are recycled, you know, is because they're already made.
Right.
But at this point in time, with the amount of technology and energy and effort and you know financial support that films like this have, it's probably not the case that they can't just make toys, you know, to scatter across the floor if they so needed to.
Yeah.
So maybe they're finding new ways and even, you know, kind of becoming aware of the essence that is the Pixar universe.
Yeah, that could very much be the case. That said, though, there were some Easter eggs in there as well. Like the Luxo ball, it was a sticker on a rocket in his room.
Yep.
I think his bag, like his backpack, says Area 113, so it's like
A113
right
yep,
there.
I love it.
I think, I mean, Pixar has said the Pizza Planet truck is in there. I didn't see it, but they're good at hiding that one.
They are good at hiding that one. That one seems to be one they're having a lot of fun with. And the in WALL-E, no, in the Good Dinosaur rather, it's an asteroid.
Yeah.
And it's like so difficult to see.
Yeah, but that's another one. There is another, you can see an asteroid belt in this one too. And I was leaning for it. I was like, oh my God, is it an asteroid again?
Right, yeah.
Like, are we going to see the same Pizza Planet asteroid?
Oh, it'd be so crazy.
That'd be so cool.
It'd be so cool. So all of that being said, I mean, you know, I felt like this was a movie all about sort of like self-discovery. I feel like once again, Pixar does a great job of sort of like taking this like commonly held issue even of like, you know, the interests of a child versus like the objectives of a parent and the potential mismatch there. Like, I think it gives people of the world like a new way to communicate, just like I've said about like Inside Out in the past. Like, I think Inside Out is like a gift to the world because now we have this like personified way to talk about our emotions. It's like, it's like, you know, the number of times that my wife and I have been having a conversation where like, you know, anger's at the wheel or something, or sadness is at the wheel, or, you know, whatever. It's like you can almost like sort of like imagine it, and it's like a good way to like communicate to others like what you're feeling, and doing that is always going to be a good thing. So I think that Elio has just like a wonderful message. I thought it was beautiful. I thought the characters were compelling. I thought they were all incredibly lovable, and I think that this is going to, like, even if it doesn't end up being like a box office success, I think it will be a beloved film.
Absolutely, it is going to be. I think especially when it hits streaming and like kids can watch it like at home as much as they want, I think you were going to see it like really ratchet up.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That's literally the first thing I texted my wife Alice when I left. Was like, I can't wait for Addison to see
this. I know. I'm like, I just bring the kids back this weekend. Just go see it again. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing it again at all.
Do you have a score?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna give it, I think like a 94.
Okay, there you go.
I thought it was very good.
I was literally thinking a 93 myself.
There you go.
So
there you go.
Like, I mean, like tiny little nitpicky type things, but I think for the most part it's a fantastic film. And if for some reason you made it this far into a very spoilery review of the film and haven't seen it, I absolutely recommend you go and see it. If you have seen it, let us know what you think. Are you on the same page as us? Were you just as blown away as we were? because we super enjoyed it. Let us know all of your thoughts in the towel section down below. Otherwise, until next time, bye!